We have a leak in the room just below our bathroom, so we're going to go ahead and replace the wax ring. And we're going to use the reinforced wax ring so we get extra strength. Now to start out, what I'm going to do is put some hot water in the sink and float the wax ring in there until I'm ready for it. This makes it more pliable so that it doesn't crack when we install it. So the first thing we're going to do is turn the water off at the supply, take the lid off, and then we'll flush the toilet. This will take most of the water out of the tank, as you can see. Now we're going to take the supply line off. Just grab a pair of channel locks, a pair of pliers, and loosen that up, and the rest of it should come off by hand. You want to have a towel down on the floor because there's going to be some water that's going to come out. And then we're going to cut the caulking around the base of the bowl, so make it easier to remove. Once we get that done, we can go ahead and take the caps off the bolts. And you'll notice that on the bolts there's a little white ring there. That's to hold the cap on, so we want to make sure we put that back on the same way. We'll go ahead and take off the nut that's holding the toilet down. Then we'll have to do this on both sides. Now before we take the toilet off the floor, we want to make sure that we soak all the water up that's in the tank. And I just grabbed a towel. What I'll do is soak it up and then wring it out and repeat a couple times. You can use a sponge, but a towel works just fine. Now we're ready to take the toilet off simply by rocking it back and forth, and it should break free from the wax ring that's on there and any leftover silicone caulking. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and clean up the floor, get all the old caulking, the old silicone off there. Just make it easier to reinstall. Make sure we get a good, nice, tight seal when we reinstall it. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the old wax ring. Just start scooping it out of there. It's real sticky. You can stick a rag down in the hole so you don't drop any pieces of wax down in there. Plus that will keep any sewer gases from coming up while you're working. I'm going to take the bolts off of the flange, just simply slide them down the channel and lift them out. Now I want to remove all the old wax that's on the bottom of the toilet. To do that, I put the towel over the tub and kind of laid the toilet down so I could get to the bottom of it easier. You want to be careful because some water will still be in the bowl and the tank. Now I've inspected my old bolts and they look like they're in good shape. The new bolts that came with my wax ring are too long, so I'm going to go ahead and use the old bolts. And all I do is simply slide them back in. You want to have them straight in line. That's where the holes are for the toilet to mount. Now I've got my wax ring. I'm going to go ahead and remove the cover. You can either put the wax ring on the bottom of the toilet. You have to press it into place. You want to make sure not to crush it and make sure that the diverter is aimed downward. What I'm going to do though is put it on the floor because I found that it falls off the toilet. Now that we have our wax ring in place, we can go ahead and set the toilet back on, and we want to make sure we line up the two bolts with the holes in the base of the bowl. Then we'll put on the cap retention ring, followed by the metal washer, and finally the nut. Now when you tighten this, you want to make sure that you tighten both sides evenly. Do one side then the other side and alternate, but you don't want to get it too tight or you could crack the bowl. Then we can put the cap back on and we have our toilet installed. We'll hook up the water line, simply put that on, and first off hand tighten it, make sure we don't cross thread the nut. Then we can snug it up with a pair of channel locks and turn the water back on. And then we have the finishing touch. Add a little caulking around the bottom of the toilet to give it that nice finished look. And that's how you reinstall a wax ring. This is How To Bob. Thanks for watching.